So here we are in Yamanashi on the foothills of Mount Fuji. This is a shakodama, number 10 size shell that's so big you cannot fire these in Tokyo. And tonight we're gonna be firing these up, but more than that, I'm gonna be taking you inside of a Japanese fireworks manufacturing plant to see how Japanese fireworks are made. And then of course, we're gonna fire these up.
Only in Japan.
Giant shell fireworks, a sight you won't see in central Tokyo, launched 330 meters up, about 1,000 feet, exploding just as wide. Big shells like this are lowered carefully down the cannons, covered up to protect the launch. Each one is still handmade, the skill passed down through generations at each family-run company. Today we're launching 12 giant shell fireworks, 150 kilometers away from the city of Tokyo. At sunset, when the remaining light dims and falls behind the Japanese Alps, the pyrotechnicians on site give it one last check before the launch. An 8.5 kilogram shakodama shell explodes from the cannon approximately 6.5 seconds to reach peak elevation. One shell. A lot of work went into that very beautiful large explosion. There are different sizes of fireworks shells in Japan. The cannons for number 3, 4, 5, and 7. The number 10 shakodama cannon. But in Japan, they do get bigger, a lot bigger. The rare number 20 nishakodama, 30 sanshakodama, and 40 yonshakodama cannons are often buried into the ground. Here are the professional shell sizes and launch details. These smaller shells make up the bulk of fireworks festivals in Japan, the number 5 being the largest in urban areas. The number 7 and number 10 shakodama are popular launches in sparsely populated areas. Weights and sizes get crazy after number 10, nishakodama, sanshakodama, and the mother of them all, the yonshakodama, seen annually every September in Katakai, Niigata. It's 420 kilograms, taking over 6 months to make one, 48 inches in diameter, the world's largest for decades. That at my feet is a nishakodama. The yonshakodama is massive, taller than most 7-year-olds, fired from a cannon that's buried deep in the ground. Loaded carefully by a crane. Its creator, Honda-san, launches 2 annually as the finale at Katakai. When one's launched, you gasp. Watch it go up 750 meters into the sky and explode. It's truly the mother of all shells and can take over half a year to make just one. So how do they do that? Let's head to the Komatsu fireworks factory in Omagari, Akita, in Japan's north, surrounded by the region's famous komachi rice. The CEO is a 5th generation owner.
株式会社小松煙火工業の代表を務めております小松忠信です。私どもの会社はですね、明治18年1885年、創業であります。今年135周年を迎えました。ここの大曲の花火は明治43年から競技大会を行っておりますが、第1回からの出品をしております。私で5代目となりますけれども、社員約30人ほどの社員とともにですね、花火を作り、いろいろ企画をしています。
Each one of these buildings has a special purpose. We'll start at the beginning of the process. Step 1. Mixing the powder, known as milling. The next step is granulation, making pellets of fireworks powder called stars. The powder is mixed with water to make a cement-like substance. It's hand dribbled onto the round stars. This metal barrel spins the stars, the cement spreading evenly on all of them, making them just a little bit bigger. The stars are wet, a little powder is added. The process to make them larger takes a few weeks to several months, depending on the size of the shell it's for. They start with a little ceramic ball, smaller than a sesame seed. Soon, you'll see just how big they can get over time. The process is always ongoing, day by day. These balls are done for now and need to be taken to a special place. This room is very warm, used to dry the stars. Everything here except that electric barrel used to spin the stars is done by hand. Stars done drying go back to the barrel for more cement and powder to grow. So to make something like the number 40 Yon Shakodama that requires very large stars, you can see why it takes an amazing amount of time. The stars are constantly rotated and cared for here. This is the charge used to propel the shells into the sky, also made by hand. The core made with the husks of Akita Komatsu rice. You may never look at a bowl of rice in Akita the same way again. The drying room can be used year-round no matter the weather, but when it's sunny, using the power of the sun is much preferred. The trays are rolled so the stars dry evenly. These are the size of gumballs, not yet finished, not if they want to be in the number 10 Shakodama shells. Back to the barrel for another coating. Many of the staff have been here for a long time. Komatsu-san is very involved with the production. Next, we head to the loading room where the stars are put into the shells. Staff are now making the number 3 shells and number 10 Shakodama shells. The number 3s are a little bit smaller than a baseball, maybe the size of a plum. These are near the end of the process. So let's turn our attention to those Shakodama. I was quickly drawn to the size of the pellets or stars for the number 10s. They're quite large. They're loaded into the papier-mâché wood-hard shells lined evenly to the top. When it's perfect, it's tapped down. Depending on the design of the desired explosion, another layer is added. Thus, this will be multicolored when it explodes several hundred meters into the sky. It's just the paper. The details in the composition is a mystery, like the paper used here, the makeup, the thickness. It's a guarded trade secret. Same as the powder mixture. Charge is added inside the shell to really propel the stars out. It really is powered by Akita rice. The two sides are tapped down, and when everything is just right, carefully, it's capped together like this. The shell is tapped and hammered down. On average, weighing about 8.5 kilograms or 19 pounds. The loading is pretty much complete. The shell halves are taped. The fuse is prepared. Notes written on the shell to know the contents. There are a lot of trade secrets here, and this is as far as we can go with the details. Let's follow the shells to the final manufacturing process, the pasting. The shells make their way to this room where the staff is pasting paper to the outside of the shell. The process takes some time, a lot of rolling and skill to make sure it's even. This step ensures the strength of the shell when fired up and also helps the stars fan out, the amount of paper pasted to it playing a big role in how far they go. But the pressure from the pasting is required. The shells may be pasted several times with layers that require drying, pasting, drying, pasting. Larger shells require a lot more work. When finished and ready to dry, the shells are placed here. A couple of shakodamas and a few number 7s that will be used in our very own fireworks festival. Komatsu-san took me to the storage area. It's secured with heavy cement block walls around a reinforced steel box.
This is where they keep the fireworks when it's finished, in a very secure building for safety reasons. It's like a vault.
そうですね。ここは2号から3号といった直径が6センチから7.5センチ、そして9センチの花火玉をストックしておく場所です。
Some of these number 2 and 3s will get used at our own fireworks event at the launch site. Everything needed for the event is packed up in trucks at the factory the morning of the event. From here, it's just a 10-minute drive to the Omagari Japanese National Competition launch site. The procession crosses the wide-open Komatsu rice paddies of Japan's Great North. They launch fireworks here quite often with festivals 4 times a year. Not the nicest place for vegetation to grow, as you can see. It's basically a big sandbox on the banks of the Omono River. For this event, we had 150 meters dedicated to our launch. It'll take all morning to prep everything. The event starts 8 hours later after sunset. There's a lot to work to do, including setting up the electric firing systems and field controllers. I have to watch where I step down here. Let's hear about tonight's program from Komatsu-san.
今日もですね、社員一丸となって、この企画一生懸命取り組みました。また地元の響屋さん、わび屋さん、とともにまた福島のですね、菅野さんや糸井さんとともにオンリーインジャパンの花火を一生懸命打ち上げたいと思います。まずオンリーインジャパンの花火については、全長200メートルの幅に花火玉をセットをしております。打ち上げ発はですね、上空でバーンとこう開く花火玉は約350発、そして光の線をさまざま駆使したもの、これが150発ほど打ち上がりますので、全体としてはですね、約500発の花火を3分半かけて打ち上げする、そういった企画を用意しております。約2週間かけました。5社の花火会社がそれぞれ役割分担をしながら進めました。延べ人数でいくと100人近い人間が一生懸命関わったというふうに思いますね。
あなたはアーティストですか？
どうなんでしょうね。我々アーティストという表現が合うかどうかは私はちょっと分かりませんけれども、花火を作るということに対しては相当こだわりがあります。今回関わった5社5つの花火会社はそれぞれ自分の得意とする花火というのがあります。そこにはいろんな時間をかけるだったり、代々受け継いできたものというのがあります。こういったものを守りながら進化させるということを大切にしています。結果的にそれがですね、皆さんに感動してもらえれば、もしかすると芸術というふうな評価をいただけるのではないのかなというふうには思っています。
This entire event was crowdfunded by our Only in Japan YouTube community, 831 backers contributing to this one of two events. The Shakudama cannons. They're separated from the other fireworks. We've got two for this first event. Komatsu-san loaded our Shakudama himself. You can see the lift charge on the bottom of it.
Happy future to all. And there you have it. We're going to be launching these in a few hours.
The quiet before the storm. We're all set with just a couple of hours to go. Before we launch our fireworks up at the prestigious Omagari Fireworks Festival, let's take a look at the culture and history behind fireworks in Japan. This is Ogatsu-san, CEO of Maru Tamaya Company and President of the Japan Fireworks Association.
日本の場合は米の文化ですから、で米から作られるもみ殻とかね、あと和紙、あとその海苔ですかね、そういうものをうまく利用してその世界に誇るその大きい花火を作ることができたわけですよ。ですから一発の花火をね鑑賞する文化っていうのはおそらく日本ぐらいですよ。もちろんヨーロッパアメリカにもありますよ。そういう職人が集まってコンペをするような場っていうのもあるんだけれど、今ジョンさんがおっしゃるように日本の花火は一発だけでもね 要するに鑑賞するだけの実は価値があるんですね。でヨーロッパアメリカは一発上げてもあんまりよく分かんない。だから一発しか上げないとブーイングが出ますね。もっといっぱい上げろって。だから文化が違うんじゃないですかね。そのなんていう花火を鑑賞する。日本の場合は夏の風物詩と言われますからね。でそこへみんな集まってね、昼間からで花火を打ち上がるまで時間を過ごすわけですよね。でそれも楽しみの一つなので、その文化っていうのは日本ならではじゃないでしょうかね。江戸時代、最初に花火をご覧になったのは徳川家康とも、あるいはその前に伊達政宗とも言われてますけれど、その当時はおそらく丸い花火はないですよね。すすきのようなね、今でいうおもちゃ花火のこうしだれるような花火で、それが最初だったわけですよ。それが鍵屋さんっていうね、鍵屋っていうのは、そうそう奈良の奥からね江戸へ出てきて、これは商売になるっていうんで何代も重ねて、それで打ち上げ花火を作るようになったわけですよ。
Traditional fireworks in the Edo period were made of 3 materials: potassium nitrate, sulfur, and charcoal, giving it a dark red flare like this.
明治になってからね、いろいろ海外から酸化剤が入って、酸化剤っていうのは色火を出すような高温のね、薬剤ですけど、それと色火剤も入ってくることによっていろいろ工夫しながら一つの玉の中にどうやって星を並べて、どうやってなんていうんですか、自分の思うような形にするのかっていうのをいろいろ切磋琢磨しながらそれを重ねながらやっぱりやってきたんだろうと思いますね。
Now, let's launch those 500 fireworks Komatsu-san made and set up for us in Omagari.
Welcome to the Only in Japan Fireworks Festival. Hope from around the world. We love Japanese hanabi. Let's fireworks!
Hello.
There are many different styles of fireworks. Varying them is part of the artistry, making a complete body of light that flows together, often paired with music to enhance the senses, creating a stronger emotion for those watching. It was a pretty impressive show, those booms setting off several car alarms in the neighborhood. In Japan, it's common for people to buy a shell like this to dedicate one to someone who is retiring from a job, someone who passed away, a birth of a child, anniversary, or marriage. It makes each blast special and personal, shared by everyone who sees it. One shell can be very special in Japan. Our Only in Japan community purchased a dozen of these for this launch in Yamanashi. Each one had a message, including this one, dedicated to the birth of my son Leo, who left his mark on it for the launch. Every year in Japan, there are over 200 fireworks festivals called Hanabi Taikai, competition by sponsors launching shells for sometimes 1 million spectators, sometimes on national TV. Some festivals can last over 2 hours. When you come to Japan, especially in summer, you'll understand more about what makes these festivals so special. It's more than just fireworks in the sky. Join me for more Only in Japan adventures around every corner of the country right here on this channel, Only in Japan. Mata ne.